Hello everybody, Pinstripe here. What is going on with you? Welcome back to another video, another tier list. You guys have requested the map tier list specifically, so I'm going to separate it out into two videos. In this one we're looking at the single player missions in the single player campaign, and probably in another one that I make later on we'll be doing the multiplayer maps where there are considerably more. But we have our tier list here of super, awesome, average, bad and trash. A little bit of a change since last time. But starting off with Mission 1, War Foundation has got to go in the awesome category. Obviously what I say about these maps isn't set in stone. If you have other opinions or thoughts or feelings on these maps, let me know in the comments. We can get a discussion going like we always do. But I put this one in the awesome category. It's not quite super, but it does teach you the basics of the game and is obviously the perfect starting point for new players going into the single player campaign for the first time. It has water in there, so you can learn about damage taken from water. You've got pickups, you've got health crates, you've got easy weapons and easy enemies as well, and just learning the basics of strategy and how that kind of translates into Hogs of War is an important thing. Next one, Routine Patrol Mission 2, also in the awesome category. Not quite super because I don't really find it that fun. But by this point you should be upgrading your pigs, normally to engineers or heavy weapons, getting those bazookas, that kind of thing. It's got some pickups, you get some TNT, there's a couple of bridges, got some water, but not quite super just yet. Mission 3, Trench Warfare. Now, this one's a tough one, but I've got to put it in the bad category because it's just too long for me. The map is quite big compared to Mission 1 and Mission 2. Like, you've got to make your way over to the enemy. You can jump into the shelter, which is great, I guess, because it kind of focuses their attention on the shelter, but taking that long to get there, and you've got 3 grunts and a gunner, or in hard mode you've got 3 gunners and a bombardier, and it's just, I've never found Mission 3 to be that fun. But Mission 4, for me, has got to go into the super category. That is Morning Glory. The map I've always found fun. I've loved it since the demo, and it has a good balance of gunners and grunts. I find that grunts take longer than gunners because gunners have long range with the bazooka, so they don't have to think as long, but grunts just walk around and do their own thing and then throw a grenade that lands in the water, and they really waste your time. But I don't know, for me Mission 4 is a nice one. It's the first mission where you face up against more than 4 pigs. The enemy has 5, you have 5, so you're even, and yeah, I don't know, I've just always enjoyed it. Mission 5 is similar to Mission 4, not quite super though. I'm going to put it in the awesome category as well. Mission 5 is of course important because once you conquer this mission you will have conquered Hogshead and you'll gain promotion points, but it has a good diverse range of enemies. This is where you go from not just facing up against grunts and gunners to the likes of espionage, medic and engineer classes as well. So it's awesome to me. Mission 6, Under Siege. This is a tough one because I want to put in awesome, but I feel like it needs to go in the average category. You do have health on this map, but you're surrounded by a minefield. The enemy have the high ground. It's interesting in terms of its concept and the strategy needed. You need to figure out a way of getting out of the minefield, preferably without taking damage. So there are ways of going about it, but it sits in the average category for me because the bombardiers can be quite ruthless. The espionage classes, i.e. the snipers and spies, will take forever and they will tend to hide and they'll have the upper hand because they do have the high ground over you, but you do have buildings, so there is some give and take there, but it sits in the average category for me. Mission 7, I have to put it in the bad category. I've never enjoyed communication breakdown. It's never been fun for me. You've got to take out 2 pillboxes, which is your first introduction into vehicles, but there's also a bombardier to take care of. There's also a scout and an orderly and 2 grunts inside the pillboxes, and it's a very long mission because you have to take down the health of the pillboxes alongside everybody else. And yes, there's no medals to collect, there's no objective, you just got to kill everybody, but it takes a long time. I've never enjoyed it, and that is also moving on to Mission 8, the spying game. It is trash for me. I'm sorry. It really is. Like, the map is very bland and basic. You have to kind of do some jumping to get to the main section of the island, and then you kind of have to survive. Like, you have a shelter and a medical tent on the far side, or is it a MASH tent on the far side of the map. I never use those. I never go anywhere near that area, so I'm always in the middle. And then you have reinforcements of spies coming down. But I mean, if you're out of the way of them, that's fine. But this mission takes a long time if you haven't killed the snipers before the spies come in, because I find that most of my team just sits in the middle of the island, out of the way, out of the view of the spies, so they just keep hiding, and this map is just trash. I'm sorry. It is for me. Mission 9, the village people, is average. It's okay. This is your first introduction into mission objectives, so you have to collect the promotion point. You don't have to, but you can. There is an airstrike on this map, so there is a very quick way of finishing this mission, but it's average. You know, it's got some good elements. It looks good. There's a building on it. There's, like I said, an airstrike. There's a good height difference and stuff like that. There are reinforcements that do drop in partway through this mission if you are a little bit slow. It will be another pyrotechnic, so you'll have 4 enemies to face of 2 bombardiers and 2 pyrotechnics, so do keep an eye on that one. But you get given a cluster bomb and an airstrike as a pickup, so it does have some good sides. Mission 10, Bangers and Mash, is also average. It's okay. If you are accurate with your mortar shots, then you'll be able to take down the artilleries in like 2 turns, depending on the order of your pigs. I tend to start with 2 heavy weapons pigs just to inflict quick damage, get those gunners out of the artilleries, because they only have 100 health, so it's not too bad. It's the same as the pillboxes on mission 7, but it's a bit better than that, because, you know, you're also trying to take the mission objective of another promotion point and take out a scout as well. Mission 11, Saving Private Rind. I'm gonna have to put it in the bad category. I'm sorry for anyone that likes this map, but it's bad for a number of reasons. The main one for me is the fact that the snipers or the spies that you have on this mission, they can never shoot the commando. Yes, they can throw poison gas at him in the middle of the map, you know, when he jumps out the shelter, but their aim, their AI, just doesn't really know how to deal with the metal that is surrounding the commando within the shelter. And for me, it's just, I don't know, yes, you've got a promotion point to collect as well, and, you know, the map is, it looks interesting, and the concept of it is good, but playing it is bad for me. I don't know. But mission 12, Just Desserts, also known as Oasis, also gonna have to go in the average category, because you've got tanks, you've got your first introduction into tanks and the use of them. In fact, it's the only mission in the single player campaign that has tanks in them. They're fun to use. You can collect the promotion point partway through, so long as you destroy the tanks on the enemy side of the map, but they're kind of all bundled into that corner, and the spies, when they take their turn, will normally go ahead and jump into a tank, and then that takes a lot of time. So it's not quite awesome, it's not quite bad, it's just okay, I guess. Glacier Guns, on the other hand, is bad. You start off in the center of the map, or near enough in the center, and you are just completely exposed. You're in a line against 5 pillboxes, and this map just takes the longest amount of time, especially if you're doing a speed run. It is a pain in the butt, and I'm sure many of you will agree that it's not really that fun, not unless you have plenty of engineers with shrapnel grenades, because they can just devastate pillboxes at any given turn. On to mission 13, which is, no, mission 14, sorry, battle stations. It's average. You can go ahead and walk through the minefield, you know, go ahead and follow the path through it. That takes a lot of time. You should have a commando at this stage who can jetpack into their side of the map, collect the promotion point. You've got 100 health crate, 100 HP health crate that you can collect as well, but it's fairly easy. It's not quite awesome because you can complete this map in a fairly short period of time. So once again, it just sort of sits in the middle as being an alright map. Mission 15, Fortified Swine, is also average. I wouldn't put it, actually, is it bad? I don't know. I'm going to put it as bad. You've got, is it a pyrotechnic? I think a pyrotechnic or a bombardier against 3 spies, and you also have to protect the general's wine cellar. That's the problem I have with it. The overall concept of this map is you're protecting some wine for the general. I don't know, it's just a bit weird to me, and yeah, that's why it's kind of in between average and bad, but mainly bad. I don't really enjoy it that much. You do have, I believe it's a duck on this map. If you go to the top, near enough the top left corner of the map, you can get some rocket launchers and you can jump in the duck, but it doesn't serve any purpose. Next up we have mission 16 over the top, which is again also pretty average. You have 2 artilleries on either side of the map. You have a bridge in the middle. There are reinforcements that do drop in. If you have a hero at this stage, which you should, because this is mission 16, so you're moving into Belliopolis and you should have more promotion points, you can use that to take either of these artilleries. You then use Super TNT to blow them up to gain promotion points, but it's a very rigorous map because the constant reinforcements of gunners or later on bombardiers, it just takes up a lot of time. Not to say that taking a long time to complete a mission is necessarily a bad thing, but I mean that's kind of where Hogs of War tends to get a bit slow, when you're just waiting for the AI to take their turn and do something. But mission 17, Geneva Convention, it's a bad map for me. I don't know, the concept is interesting, where you're parachuting into an area where a lot of your army's pigs have been killed, so you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on. There's medical tents and commandos or heroes to deal with in hard mode, and I don't know, I've never liked it as a map in itself. There's 4 commandos or heroes to deal with, and they have 80 health once they have jumped out of the medical tents, so you do have to be wary of exactly how you go about this mission, because you can use an airstrike to kill 2 of the 4 enemies and then deal with the other 2. And there is also a bug on this map in that sometimes, for some reason, if you end up destroying all of the medical tents like you're meant to, the general will yell at you and tell you that you've done a bad job and that you'll get no promotion points. Why that happens, I don't know. Sometimes they just don't drop down. It's a very strange map and it is quite buggy. Next one, on to mission 18, I Spy. It's trash, just like the spying game. The same concept applies here in that it's very boring, very slow. You have an objective to collect the promotion points that are locked away behind metal casings, and you have to use the Super TNT to blow them up. So, you know, you've got that to focus on alongside taking down, let me just count, 1, 2, 3, 5, is it? Yeah, 5 spies, and that's just not fun in itself. Onto a map that is finally pretty decent, Chemical Compound, mission 19, which has to go in the super category. This one, I actually prefer the beta version where it has an engineer in it, but you've got a bunch of different objectives to focus on. You have to kill the pyrotechnic that comes down as a reinforcement to gain a promotion point. You have to destroy the chemicals and the trucks in the top left corner of the map. You have a commando to deal with. You've got a good variety of enemies, and the map is fairly interesting, and there is a good wall climb on this map too, so plenty of good things going on, and enough to keep my attention. Next up, mission 20, Achilles Heel. It has to go in the I'm going to put it in the bad category, I'm sorry, but the reinforcements that you have to wait for to be able to gain promotion points, the fact that waiting is the way to gain the promotion points on this mission, it just makes it bad. And the AI could be a little bit harder. The fact that you're on the high ground, which is great, you know, you can take out 3 out of the 4 surgeons, but then you have to wait for the reinforcements to come in, and by that point there's just a lot of waiting. It's not fun, it's very slow, but it is kind of a respite at this stage in the single player campaign, because mission 20, you're nearing the end, so you're kind of expecting things to be a bit harder, but it's fairly easy both in normal mode and hard mode. Mission 21, on the other hand, High and Dry, is complete trash, and that is solely down to hard mode. It's almost as if at this point in development the dev team were like, okay, let's just have a mission where the opposing team, so your team, are guaranteed to lose a pig. You cannot get the survival bonus on this mission on hard mode. It's impossible because the enemies just constantly use airstrikes. It's okay on normal mode, but it's quite boring, and I don't know, just always gives me the same feeling of I hate this mission. I want to move on to the next one of Mission 22, Assassination, which is awesome. Not quite super, because recently during speedrunning I've found to dislike this mission quite a lot. I know that's a little bit petty to put it in the awesome category rather than super for that reason, but I'm sorry. It's tricky. You've got to deal with 2 artilleries with gunners inside them. You've got to deal with a hero that is in the shelter that surrounds your pigs at the beginning of the mission, but the map is what makes it awesome for me. It's concepted really nicely, the layout is great, and there's just a lot of interesting parts to talk about. Too much to talk about in this video, but I will be going into detail about it at a later point when I get to it with videos. I don't know. Mission 23, Hero Warship, I'm going to put it at average. And I'm going to put it at average because it's got an interesting concept. You've got to take out 4 heroes, which sounds horrible. On hard mode it's tricky because they do go straight for the airstrike, of course. So you have to move your pigs underneath the metal bridge, which will block the airstrike. And that is quite tedious, and that's kind of why it sits at average. It's not quite bad because it's more interesting to me than Achilles' Heel or any of the other ones in bad. But yeah, that is Mission 23. Mission 24 is awesome. Solely for the reason that there are just so many enemies and taking them all down is very satisfying, and I find it quite enjoyable. There's no other reason than that, really. You do get 100 health crate as well, or is it 200? I think it's 100. I can't remember. You get a big chunky health crate that you can go for. Gaining the promotion point on this level is quite tedious because you have to run all the way up to the enemy. You have like 10 seconds on the clock and you have to stand on a pig's face that is on the floor. Like, how obscure do you have to be to figure that out? To new players it's just incredibly confusing, but I find this map to be quite awesome. The map itself, in terms of how it looks, is pretty boring, but having all those pigs just kill themselves over and over again is fun to see. And the final mission, Mission 25, it has to be super. I'm sorry, it's the final mission. You're facing up against legends. It's the first time you're seeing them, and I've always found this mission to be pretty cool. So that is my tier list for the single player missions in Hogs of War. If you have any other thoughts, like I said, let me know in the comments. I will be doing multiplayer at some point in the future, so do stay tuned for that. The link to this tier list will be in the description, so if any of you guys want to do it yourself and, you know, post your results on Discord or wherever social media, link them to me. I'd like to know and indeed see. And in the meantime, I will catch you guys later for the next one.
Destination going. I'm going. There's destination going.